In our last demo video, we ended up by selecting the display background upon which our images and our response tasks would be displayed. And now we have all of the steps necessary to take a look at the survey that's been built in the background. So let's do that now. We're going to take a look at this survey, make sure it looks okay before we get into sample size and sample and paying for and launching our study. So we click Preview Survey, and we can see that everything we've set up before in the SOI section is right here. That is, we only had 3 SOIs, and we structured them in Group 1. We had Jack in the Box, KFC, and Subway. I'm going to get to the validation preview row later in this series or in this demo, so hold off on that for now. But as you will see, we have a preview of the survey ready to take a look at. So when I click here, we will see the survey as a respondent sees it. So you can take a look at it, make sure everything looks right and it's tracking well before we actually launch it. So I'm going to click on that now. What's going to happen is we're going to go through the beginning of it, and we'll go through some response tasks. I may not take you through all of them, but we'll pick up later when we get to the demo questions and the outcomes questions. All right, so if I click here, you can see how we start our surveys. We first say welcome to our survey, and we position it as a survey that is going to have you evaluate images or words. We say that the survey takes about 15 minutes, and it's important that you're not interrupted during this time. So when you're pretty sure you've got about 15 minutes, click to begin. And we say, great, let's get started. Now, in this survey, you're going to evaluate images or words that companies may use in their marketing and advertising. That's how we position the tasks that they'll be going through. And we show them an example of what these tasks are going to look like on the screen. We further say in this example, you would select positive if what you see gives you a positive feeling, or negative if what you see gives you a negative feeling. And then we further say that after you select either positive or negative, to get more specific, you'll see another group of words. Again, we're setting up the response tasks so that respondents are familiar with it when we actually start collecting data. We say in this example, you would select the one word that best conveys what you see. And we also have some disclaimer language or some things that will help create the right demand characteristics around the survey. The images or words you'll be evaluating have been shown to convey a variety of characteristics, both positive and negative. So given this, we expect that you'll be selecting a variety of positive and negative words, but in no particular order. That's helping the respondent not create any response bias. Furthermore, the words may not fit exactly what you feel the image conveys. That's okay. We know that some words don't apply and that everybody's different. Just choose the one word that best conveys what you see. This is in response to some people telling us that some of the words that we choose or the words that the clients choose don't apply, but we're trying to make it so that they'll choose one anyway. Now we're loading the SOI representations, as you can see here. And so we say before you evaluate your items, we want to know if you're aware of them. So we collect awareness information about the entities or the SOIs that are involved in the study. I'm aware of each one of these entities, so I'll click them all and hit continue. Now you're ready for your first set of evaluations. Now you'll see that this set of evaluations are the explicit association evaluations. And in this set of evaluations, we're going to show them 3 of each SOI to get a little reliability going. We say that to them. In this set of evaluations, the items you'll be evaluating may repeat. Nothing's wrong. We do that for measurement reliability. So feel free to give the same answer each time or different answers if you have different reactions. And remember, we remind them you'll be responding twice each time you see an item. First positive or negative, then for a more exact word. So here we go with the explicit responses. Does that give you a positive or negative? I'm just going to click through here. You can do this as a respondent if you want to later, but I'm just going to click here to save time. And again, the respondent is looking directly at the stimulus of interest, which makes it an explicit response, and they click either positive or negative at level 1. And then if they choose positive, they get positive attributes. I'll choose excited here. If they choose negative, they get negative attributes, and the ones that you entered in the survey entering process There we go. And again, we're going to go through 9 trials here, 3 trials for each of the SOIs in your study. And I haven't counted, but we should be getting near the end. Okay, those are the explicit trials. Now we move into the implicit response tasks, or the implicit trials in the survey. We say you've just completed your first set of evaluations. Thank you for your responses so far. Now you're going to be evaluating the rough beginnings of designs that may eventually be used in marketing materials, for example, in logos. These are what are called the abstract target images, and they're used as the images that we direct people to after we prime them, as you'll see. The designs you'll be evaluating will look like these, again, very rough at this stage. When you evaluate these designs, we're going to distract you a little bit, because in real life you may be distracted too. We want to see how well you can focus on and evaluate the designs while being distracted. Now we tell them and set them up for what the task is going to look like, so there are no surprises as we go along. And we tell them to distract you, we're going to fade in and out various images with the designs. In fact, some of the distracting images will be things you've already seen. We want you to ignore these images and evaluate only the designs. Here's what your task will look like. As you can see here, we're setting up the implicit response task. Now the primes will be the images of the SOIs that you input into the system, and the target images will be those abstract images that you saw a couple slides earlier. Here's what your task will look like, and these are just examples. You can see here, we start with no prime. There's no prime here, and that's a baseline trial. So you see the abstract image, and it's flashing, and we ask people to evaluate the design itself. Does that give you a positive or negative feeling? I'm going to say positive, and then since I chose positive, we have positive attributes. I'm going to say happy. And now we have a trial that involves a prime. People are primed with one of our SOIs, KFC here, and we ask them to evaluate the design and say this design gives you a positive or negative feeling. I'll say negative here, and I'll say skeptical. And then there's another example with Subway being the prime, and I put positive and hopeful. That's an example, or those are examples of the implicit trials or the implicit response tasks. Again, the prime is activating the implicit associations I have with whatever the prime is, and it is influencing how we evaluate the abstract prime image as they flash back and forth. So we say to people, now you see how we'll be distracting you, although this is unusual and can be a little uncomfortable. Most people find it interesting. Again, this wording is there to make sure that respondents stay engaged and interested. We ask that you prepare for a little discomfort because it can be distracting, this flashing in and out, and realize that the approach has been scientifically proven to accurately measure people's responses while being distracted, which it has. Reminding them more about the tasks, we say, again, ignore the images fading in and out with the designs. Focus on and evaluate only the designs that look like this. More reminders, you're now ready for your evaluations, and again, these are the implicit evaluations. You'll have 3 sets of evaluations with rest periods in between. Remember, focus on and evaluate only the designs. Ignore and don't be distracted or influenced by what fades in and out with them, and you'll be responding twice for each design, each time choosing the one that best applies, and respond as quickly as you can. So, we now go through the series of real implicit trials. As you will see, and we may not go through all of these, but you can see how they work, and I'm just clicking words here, I'm really not concentrating. But you can see that there's a prime, there's a target, and then the attributes are given on the screen. So these go through 3 sets of 15 trials each. And so we won't take you through all of that. When we finish up these implicit trials, I'll finish up the first set. And we'll get through these here in just a second. Again, there are 15 trials, and each trial has 2 levels of responses. First positive or negative, and then a more discrete attribute response. But again, you'll notice some of these trials do not have a prime, and those are the baseline trials. There's one right there. Okay, so we say at this point you've just completed your first of three sets of evaluations. Take a few seconds, maybe 5 to 10, rest before continuing. When you continue, remember, and then we remind them how to respond to each one. I'm going to stop this now and pick it up in the next video where we've completed this part of the survey, and we pick up with the outcomes questions and the demographics questions.